Hello everyone, and welcome back to GreatBroadwayFan's YouTube channel. Today I am bringing you, as I said in my last update video, which there's a link down in the video description to, I'm basically playing catch up for the things that I missed out on over the last 3 months when I wasn't making videos. And I just posted a video a couple days ago about the upcoming live musicals that NBC, Fox, and ABC will be doing, and there's a link in the description to that as well. But I also wanted to play catch up on the movies that I saw between the months of March and July. And I know that these movies in particular, are not musical theater related in their content, but as someone who loves musical theater as equally as they do film, I want to try to broaden my audience's appeal into seeing things that maybe they not have been interested in seeing. So if you are a musical theater fan who doesn't usually go to the movies very often, maybe I can recommend some films that you might be interested in seeing. If you're a cinephile who loves movies but not so much musical theater, maybe my videos can help you appreciate musical theater and Broadway in general. So here are the list of movies that I saw, got my notes here, between March and July. The first one that I saw, way back when it came out in May actually, was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. And as someone who was not a huge fan of the first one, I enjoyed it. I thought it was action-packed and charming and funny, and I think that the second movie hits all of those criteria. I don't know. I thought that the first one, even though I wasn't a huge fan of it, I enjoyed the first one better than I did the sequel. The first time I saw the Guardians of the Galaxy 1 3 years ago when it came out in theaters, I rented it and then got bored, turned it off halfway through, and then right before the sequel came out, I decided to watch it from start to finish, and it was a very good movie. And the second one is good too, just nothing to really write home about. But the second film I saw, the first week of June, was Wonder Woman. And what a triumph of filmmaking. I have loved every single movie that Warner Brothers has put out for the DCEU. We've got Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, and now Wonder Woman. And of course, Justice League is coming out in November. You can bet that I will make a review for that movie. And Wonder Woman was just absolutely dazzling and fantastic. Gal Gadot is Wonder Woman. She is such a fantastic actress. I hope that she gets a long, beautiful career in Hollywood making wonderful films, but she is Wonder Woman. And as I said, not only is this the best film to come out of the DCEU, but this is probably one of the finest superhero movies that has ever been made. The action was incredible and breathtaking to watch. The love story was just enough to scratch your itch, but it really, really worked in the whole grand scheme of the film. It didn't overpower it too much. And the overall message of the movie, which is Wonder Woman's desire for love and peace, but not being afraid to kick ass and take names, is so brilliantly comes across in this film. Patty Jenkins did a great job directing this movie. Chris Pine was an amazing Steve Trevor. The Amazons were fantastic. I thought that the villains were great. And I really am interested to see what they do with the Wonder Woman sequel, which was just officially greenlit for November 2019. So then the next movie I saw, another blockbuster, was Spider-Man Homecoming. And once again, it's action-packed, not as serious as Wonder Woman, but it's still a fantastic superhero movie. And for the first time ever, I actually really enjoyed this version of Peter Parker. I always thought that Tobey Maguire was too old for the role of Peter Parker, and Andrew Garfield never really fit into the role. He was good, but he didn't feel like the right fit. But Tom Holland is Peter Parker. And I absolutely loved his performance. And I thought that the whole cast was amazing too. The supporting cast in this film was great. Top to bottom, not a bad performance in the movie. And also, points for Marvel and Sony for going the extra mile to colorblind casting majority of the supporting cast in this film. And any chance that we have to put people of color in mainstream Hollywood fare should be applauded and should be done more often. Not everybody in every film is white. Just saying that. Okay. So then in transitioning from blockbusters to independent films, I always find it's very important to support independent movies, because while blockbusters definitely make movie studios money, sometimes it's the independent, smaller movies that come out that have just as much of a good story to tell. And a couple of them were really fantastic. The first one was Baby Driver. And I loved this movie. I had seen the previews for it. I was a little bit iffy, but when the reviews came out and everyone said it was amazing, I had to go check out what all the fuss was about. And sure enough, it was fantastic. Edgar Wright did a fabulous job directing this. The cinematography was great. The soundtrack was amazing. The acting was superb. My four favorite performers in this movie were Ansel Elgort as the lead. He basically almost does a mime-like performance with not a lot of dialogue, but he sells every single acting moment in this film. Lily James as his love interest was amazing. Kevin Spacey, fantastic. And John Hamm, the way that his character switches on a dime, oh my gosh, crazy when you watch it. But go watch Baby Driver. It's such a good film. Okay, now this one I didn't get a chance to see in theaters, but I streamed it, and that was The Zookeeper's Wife. Now, I am a huge fan of movies that are based on true stories. I think that any chance when you get to pluck a gem from history that not a lot of people know about, especially when you find one in the huge mess that was World War II. I mean, there's been so many war movies made about World War II, and everybody knows the Diary of Anne Frank story, but something like this, where you have a Polish woman and her husband who run a zoo in the middle of Warsaw, right after the Nazis invade and close down the zoo, they decide to use it as sort of a buffer between helping Jews escape from the ghetto and then escaping out of occupied Poland altogether. And Jessica Chastain is front and center as the lead, as the title character of The Zookeeper's Wife, and she just pours her guts out for this role. It's amazing. Her performance is stupendous in this film. And if you get the chance to see it, watch The Zookeeper's Wife. Highly recommend it. And so, speaking of independent films and diversity, as I was just talking about, the next movie I saw was The Big Sick. And I loved this movie. Now, to be fair, I think that the ad campaign is not very accurate to the movie that you're going to actually see. This is not a romantic comedy. This is a drama disguised as a romantic comedy. And as I said with Spider-Man Homecoming, the importance of casting non-white actors and actresses in mainstream movies, you need baby steps. You need to start putting people in supporting and then eventually leading roles. And this is a film with a Pakistani lead character in what the first third of the movie is a romantic comedy. And I think it's so fascinating and so important in today's very political climate that a mainstream, a movie is being produced by Amazon to be pushed mainstream for everyone to watch, where it's told from a Pakistani viewpoint of living in the United States, and how the older generation wants to still hold on to their beliefs and customs from their home countries, and the younger generation wants to live the American dream. And I'm not going to spoil anything that happens in this movie, except you need to see The Big Sick. If you get the opportunity to, if you want to go to the movies, if it's playing anywhere near you, or if you have Amazon Prime and you can stream it, watch it. It's beautiful. I loved this movie. and the comedy was pretty fantastic. It does get a little bit black comedy, like dry humor jokes, and some of them push the edge of the envelope, but it was really, really fantastic. And then the final movie I saw, which I just saw the other week, was Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk. Now, clearly, this is Christopher Nolan's Oscar bait film of the year. He wants an Oscar, and clearly he's going the extra mile to make a movie that is Oscar-worthy in terms of the scope of the film. And while the visual and special effects are fantastic, and I think will get some nominations and maybe even some wins in those categories, the movie overall is not complete. It does not have a cohesive story structure, which makes it very difficult to follow. There's no clear protagonist that we're supposed to follow. And the overall message of the film is, in my opinion, in extremely poor taste. I just think that what Christopher Nolan was trying to capture with this movie was the spectacle of what Dunkirk was like. That how 400,000 men were stuck on a beach across the English Channel, and the English Navy and military were not sending boats over to get these men off of the shores of still Nazi-occupied France. And so it was the civilians that took their own boats and rowed across the channel to save these soldiers. And while Christopher Nolan beautifully captures what it's like to be in the middle of a war zone like that, the overall film, as I said, there's no real story structure, there's no real protagonist to follow, and the overall message of every man for himself was, I think, an extremely poor taste for a movie when it should have been more about a band of brothers rather than everyone for themselves. So, if I had to choose a favorite from this bunch, well, maybe I'll pick my top 3 from this bunch. My top 3 favorite movies that I recommend that all of you see would definitely be Wonder Woman, Baby Driver, and The Big Sick. Go see all these movies, but those would be my top 3 picks to recommend to all of you today. So that is the movies that I saw between, I would say maybe like April and July. And I hope that you guys do enjoy this. I mean, I post this content for the reason of entertaining all of you, but I also like to talk about the things that I'm very passionate about, and in addition to musical theater, it's film. So I hope that you found this video enjoyable, maybe even enlightening. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button if you are not already subscribed to my channel, click on the bell icon to know when I am posting content. You can follow me on social media. My links are all in the description down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.